Hello and welcome. My name is Zhuge here. In this episode, I'm going to talk about the mountain bike cassette options and freehub compatibility. The reason for talking about this episode is that I recently joined the Facebook MTB maintenance group and then found out there actually is quite a few people could not figure out how to upgrade or which option they can select regarding their cassettes. So here today I'm just going to go over some of the options and some of the compatibility issues that you will encounter during your upgrade. Okay. So before going into the cassettes, I would like to first introduce the types of MTB free hubs, which is fairly common in today's world. Okay, so what actually is a free hub body? So I think most of the people who ride mountain bikes already know the answer to that question, but just in case you don't, here is a rear hub, and what you have is the thing in this red rectangular box which hold the cassette, and when you install the cassette, you install it on top of that, or you basically put the cassette on there and use your chain to move your bike. Okay, typically what we have in the mountain bike world, we have three types of free hub bodies. The first one obviously is the Shimano Hyperglide system, which was introduced in the 1980s. Quite some time ago, actually. It's really widely used in today's mountain bike world, the road bike world, even some Shimano 12-speed is still using this type of free hub body. Okay, so we actually have cassettes ranging from 7 to 12 speed that is using that free hub body in the mountain bike world. And the second one, which is what you're seeing in the middle, is the SRAM XD. It was first introduced in 2012, by the XX1 11-speed group set. SRAM first introduced that to basically introduce their one-by system. And the third one is Shimano Microspline, which is introduced back in 2018 with their XTR 12-speed group set. The reason for the new free hub bodies like the SRAM XD and the Shimano Microspline is that they can support the smallest cock to be 10 tooth or even less. In some cases, like the SRAM XD E13 makes a 9 tooth to 46 or a 9 tooth to 45 tooth cassette, which give you more range and lighter weight. Okay. Now let's move on to the cassette finally. So during the mountain bike or even road bike is evolving, why do we need more cassette, more speed of the cassette? For example, at 2012, SRAM introduced 11 speed, then they introduced 12 speed, and in the road bike world, it's basically following the similar trend, but I think they have pretty different reasons for that. And in the mountain bike world, I think the most obvious reason, and I think the reason that makes the most sense, is that the introduction of the one-by system. So previously, we have multiple chain rings at the front, at your crankset. A long time ago, basically before 2010 or 2008, you basically have a 3-by system. You have your smallest chain ring, your middle chain ring, your largest chain ring, and you probably have 8 or 9 gears at the rear. And when it goes to the 10-speed world, it becomes 2-by system, reduced 1 ring. In 11-speed system, it's 1-by. A couple of advantages for that. So the first one is definitely free your left hand, because previously the shifter that controls the front derailleur is at your left hand, and by removing that, you basically free up your left hand. And that that left hand could be used to control two things. Well, the first one is the dropper post remote, which is fairly popular in today's world. After around 2016, 2017, if your bike don't have a dropper post remote, I would certainly recommend first thing for the upgrade, dropper post remotes. Then the next thing is more of a cross-country world, which is they have cable-controlled suspensions. No matter it's the front fork or the rear shock, or it could be controlled using the cable control. Then you will have a remote. Basically, when you're climbing really hard, you want to lock out or put the suspension in the pedal platform position. That means you can pedal more efficiently. And when you go downhill, you open that suspension up, and that will give you some damping. Okay. Then the second thing is that when we remove the front chainrings and use one bike system, and if we want to still keep this similar amount of range, that means your lowest cock and largest cock will need to cover a whole lot of range. And you probably don't want coerced steps between each cocks. So that's why on the market there are 9-speed or 10-speed that can cover from 11 tooth to maybe 50 tooth. But with those coerced steps, your cadence, once you're changing only one gear, the cadence changes so much that it might make you feel uncomfortable. So that's why we need the 11-speed or 12-speed system to actually make finer steps between each cog. Okay, so I've actually summarized the cassettes on the market right now by splitting them into different freehub bodies. Because we have different freehub bodies, then the cassette can only mount on certain freehub bodies. Okay, so for Hyperglide, which is the old school style, we have a Shimano, any Shimano 11-speed cassette or 10-speed, 9-speed, they're using the Hyperglide system. So here you may see some English characters, some Chinese characters. If you don't understand the Chinese, just ignore that, because I made this plot for the Chinese audience and also the international audience for it. As for the 11-speed cassette, I here marked the different types of, or I would say, different variant of the cassette. For example, for Dior XT, I'm 1000. It has 11 to 42, 11 to 42, 11 to 46, each with different weight. So this plot actually will be like a lookup table to see, if I would like a cassette and I'm a weight weenie, what will I choose? Okay, so moving on to SRAM. The interesting thing about SRAM is their low-end group set. They will use the Shimano HG freehub body. By low end, I mean anything that is SRAM NX, NX Eagle, or SX Eagle. So it applies to both 11 and 12 speed, as shown in the table. Microshift, they have several kinds of 11-speed cassettes, which has 11 to 42 tooth or 11 to 46, and Sunrays, also pretty wide range, I would say. 11 speed, they have up to 11 to 50 tooth, and for 12 speed, they have 11 to 50 or 51 tooth. So some of their models here I marked specifically. Some are Shimano drivetrain compatible, and some are SRAM drivetrain compatible. But they're all using the HG freehub body. The reason for that, I think, is the total stack height of the cassettes might be slightly different, because we all know the delta between the stack heights of Shimano and SRAM 12 speed is roughly about 2 millimeters. So in order to achieve really good shifting performance, Sunrays will need to design different cassettes for Shimano and SRAM. Okay, now let's move on to SRAM XD. Obviously, for SRAM, any group set that's equal or more premium than the GX will use their XD freehub body. So here I put the GX and XL1, XS1 all in there, and each with different codes, so you can check the range of the cassette and the weight of the cassette. And the E13, it makes both 11-speed and 12-speed XD freehub body cassettes. And as I said previously, the lowest cog, or I would say the smallest cog, is at 9 tooth instead of 10. And Sunrace has the XD freehub body cassettes. Both, it has some 11-speed cassettes and some 12-speed cassettes. Okay, so here I didn't really include the SRAM Eco Transmission T-type because upgrading to that is actually not an option. If you're watching this video, the SRAM Eco Transmission, you can only buy a whole set, and you cannot mix and match. It won't work. It just works for itself. Shimano microspline. Here I just listed the Shimano cassettes. I know there are some third-party cassettes that's also supporting Shimano microspline, but I haven't had time to look into it. So here I just listed the from XDR to Dior M6100. So for SLX, XT, and XDR, you have basically two variants. One is finer steps, 10 to 45 tooth. The other is wide range, 10 to 51 tooth.